Hello and welcome. My name is Grace, and for today's video I just wanted to do a little tarot chat, share a little bit what's on my mind. Sorry, I should have had the drink of water before I pressed record. A little mishmash. I'm going to do a little mishmash of my 2 cents into some videos that I see that there's a tag going around where people are sharing their tarot journeys, and my video would be too long. So what I wanted to share instead are the decks, not were, but are the decks that I've used, the decks I use to read for other people. There. Oh my gosh, took me so long to get that out. So I'll start with the first one. My first ever deck was, this is not it. This is a replacement of it. My first deck was this guy, the Flyback, and if you could see, those of you who are nerds could see that it wasn't, it's not, this one was printed on one big sheet. This is like, mine is probably the first run with the copyright on it. The copyright is so small I can't even read it with my bifocals or progressives or whatever you call these glasses that I'm wearing, that I can barely make it out. That's how tiny it is, compared to how much larger they make the copyright now. It's something. Nice cardstock. And this, I remember when I got this deck, my first ever tarot deck was was this one, not this physical one, but this is a replacement of it. Oh my god, how many times do I have to tell you? But anyway, I got this deck shortly after having a reading by a psychic reader with this deck. And I had readings prior to that reading with this deck. I had gone to see a card reader who used playing cards like I did, because I started with playing cards, and then I went to see a reader, the same reader, and they used Tarot de Marseille, and Tarot de Marseille never appealed to me, never. I have one Tarot de Marseille deck. I have one deck of Tarot de Marseille. I don't know if they don't appeal to me because of someone I knew who read them, and I have some issues tied in with that. But it's not, Tarot de Marseille is not a visual, or not visually do not appeal to me. I don't know. There's something about them that I don't like. Maybe it's a past life thing. But I own only one deck of one Tarot de Marseille, and it's Mary Packard's Tarot de Marseille. And yeah, I'm probably gonna I'm looking for a new home for those two because I don't use them. But this was the first tarot deck I ever got, and I have to say, this whole concept of visually appealing decks is really new to me, because I gotta tell you, I never thought this deck was beautiful. You know what I mean? I didn't get it because it was beautiful. I got it because it was compelling. I got it because the images are compelling. I got it because I'm a cartomancer. I'm a fortune teller. I'm a psychic. I love cards. So that's why I got these. So these were the first cards that I learned with, and they're also the first cards that I read for the public with. And so that's it. So the next deck that I moved on to for reading for the public was the Morgan Greer. And so I got these in the 80s, like I got the plaid back in the 80s. And then in the early 90s, I went to, there was a store where I used to read. I was one of the readers at a metaphysical shop. And I went for a reading from one of the other readers one day, and she had a basket on the table, and she had different decks. She had this one, the Aquarian, the Mother Piece, and this one. And that day I chose this one and fell in love with the images, and which brings me to my point is that prior to this one, for me, Tarot de Marseille is I don't like it at all. I don't care for it at all. At all. And these I don't love. I don't think they're visually beautiful, but because I've been working with them for so long, these are old friends. Then I met these guys in the early 90s and I fell in love. I fell in love because it was just the colors, the 1970s art style. I didn't understand at the time that they appealed to me because they were borderless. I didn't understand at the time that they appealed to me because it was a different way of looking at the same card, a different, like, because they're close up. Like, look, like this is extremely, like, this is really different from the couple with the dancing children and, the rainbow and the cups, right? So this was, and these continue, so that's another thing too, like these continue to be the decks that I reach for to read for other people. There was a time when I had retired this deck, mainly because I was a little embarrassed because it's grubby looking. But you know what, now with doing readings for people on the internet, via email or whatever it is that I do, doesn't matter, nobody sees how grubby my cards look, so I've gone back to using them. Because these look so grubby, and I had an event, I had some events lined up where I was going to be reading to the public a couple of years ago. I went and I got myself the Centennial, and that was because before finding another copy of this, I had purchased a yellow box, and it was horrendous. It was horrendous. The colors were so bright and loud. They were just ugly cards. Ugly, ugly, ugly. I had no idea that these had changed so much over the years, right? So someone had recommended these to me, so I got the Centennial. And I love this. I know there's one that's borderless, but I love this because it's basically these, only with this muted coloration. And as you see, mine are they're no longer white on the edges because they get a lot of use. After these, the last deck the most recent deck added to my arsenal of tarot decks that I use to read for other people, and this is this one. And it's the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. Now, this surprised me because this deck was created. First of all, how I got it as a gift I had a gift certificate for the local metaphysical store. I walked in. There was no way of knowing what these things looked like at the time. I didn't know I could look it up on YouTube to see a flip through. They were sealed. I thought the box was beautiful. I got them. I opened them up and I thought, what the fuck? What am I looking at? And isn't that funny? Because these, to me, are extremely clear, straightforward. They cut right to the chase. Excellent for mundane readings. So excellent for the mundane readings, the mundane issues, the day-to-day job, relationships. Excellent for checking your magical work. I found out purely by accident that these are excellent for checking for magical work because there's symbols in these cards that those of you who practice folk magic and regardless of where you're from. But if you practice folk magic, you'll recognize symbols in here between the scissors, fire, yeah, the birds, and there's ravens in here, and I freaking love ravens. I will never be disrespectful and use the term that they're my spirit animal or my totem or whatever, but I could tell you this much: when ravens and I meet in the street, it's like, hey, how's it going? It's like my heart is bursting. It's like I'm meeting my family, like my real family. So there's that too about this deck that I love. That there's lots of ravens. This Seven of Wands, people. This Seven of Wands. Look at that imagery. This Seven of Wands is just another thing about this. And when you get to know, and there's something I wanted to talk about because, okay, I'm just going to show you a couple more cards. So mine, I don't know. I can't tell you. This cardstock, so we're going to talk a little bit about, I brought it up in the past where Llewellyn, if you get the first printing of a brand new deck, the cardstock is incredible. Maybe it's just my impression, but I had this happen with other decks. This is mine. This is my Raven's Prophecy. It's probably the first printing of it. It's a few, it's a few years old, and it's got this beautiful, almost like playing cards cardstock. Not the weird cardboard cardstock that, like, and the edge is very smooth. Of course now, mine are edged. I edged these. They don't come this way. But the edges are nice and smooth. And like I said, it's flexible cards, like playing cardstock. Okay, enough of that. So why am I showing you the 4 decks that I use to read for other people? I use these decks primarily to read for other people and to read for myself when I need, like, to get straight to the point. Because one, they're versatile. All of them will provide messages on the mundane and the arcane, the sacred and the profane. It's these, whether someone comes to me and they have a question about their job versus a question about what they, a spiritual question, like about their spiritual life. These 4 decks will get straight to the point. Why? Because as I view it, and this is how I'm going to try to explain it. And I don't know if you're going to understand what I mean, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. These images, the images from these decks, speak the language of the spirits that I work with. So the spirits who are communicating with me for the reading speak this language. Because these were the first images I learned, I actually think in these images. When someone is talking to me and they're telling me something and they're confiding in me, I actually see cards in my mind's eye. I don't even need to pick up the cards. Whenever I'm witnessing a situation in real life, well, of course, like, as opposed to what, like fake life, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe you don't. Sorry. But when I'm witnessing a situation, and it's like my brain will categorize the situation with an image from the tarot, which brings me to why I do daily draws. Now, I admitted this, like, way at the beginning. It's almost a year I'm on the internet with the YouTube videos. I've been on the internet for 20-something years. Those of you who know me that far back, you already know. Those of you who don't, you're finding out now. I've been on the internet a very long time. And the reason I do daily draws is, one, purely predictive. It's a little bit from a pessimistic point of view too. I can't help it. It's not that it's pessimistic, but it's caution. I do a daily draw every day. I'm looking for roadblocks. I'm looking for something that might surprise me that is unpleasant. I'm the kind of person that if I pull the sun, I'm a little taken aback because I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm one of those people. If my card for the day is a Ten of Cups, it's it leaves me like a little freaked out because I don't know how to interpret that as a warning. And you know what? Sometimes it is a warning. It's a warning to guard what you hold dear. The Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a warning not to become complacent because, you're comfortable. Or, comfortable, complacent, and all that stuff. So, but that's why I do daily draws. But there's another reason. I didn't call them daily draws before Tarot Tube. For me, the cards have always been out. It's my whole life I've had cards just out, whether I was reading for people or myself or not. You know what I mean? And the purpose of the daily draw for me is that by drawing cards daily, and I get to identify this image with what I experience in that day. And it adds to my knowledge bank of what this card means. I just recently started looking at the meaning of tarot cards in guidebooks. All my previous experience reading tarot cards were strictly from the images and the associations that I've made over the many decades with the card and the circumstances that arise or arose on the day that I pulled this card, for instance. And so I'm fascinated. I'm literally fascinated by people who are on Tarot Tube right now, and they just picked up tarot cards for the first time 6 months ago, and they're reading all the books and all this stuff because I never did that. One, because of what was available back in the day was little to nothing. You know what I mean? It's like you walked into a metaphysical shop back in the day, and there was Mary Kay Greer's Tarot for Yourself, Eden Gray's Mastering the Tarot. You know what I mean? There weren't that many books out there, and I have them all, the old ones. But and they were dry. Okay, Mary Kay Greer's book not so much, but oh my God, Eden Gray's books. They're very dense and very dry. And I didn't want to read books. I wanted to read cards. So that's why for me it's like so fascinating when I'm watching Tarot Tube, and those of you who just, started reading tarot cards like 6 months ago, a year ago, it's pretty cool. And I still remember how the excitement, what it felt like, picking cards up for the first time, especially tarot cards. These things, they freaking terrified me when I first got them because I read playing cards, and although playing cards, you got the suit of spades, which, an ace of spades pointing downward followed by, let's say, a 10 of spades, and already that's that predicts death, and that's never been wrong. Coming from a Roman Catholic background, the devil card was disturbing to me, and I didn't understand it because I didn't understand what the devil card was saying, and I didn't understand what the little white book that came with the deck was saying about the devil card, and then later on, this whole nice washing of the devil card by people I met that were New Age still didn't explain to me what the devil card meant. And this is when I was younger. So that was interesting. I remember being a little creeped out. Also because when I got these cards, I was 16, 17 years old. I was going through a lot of stuff at 16, 17 years old. It's like, a little, I had a bit of a tumultuous childhood. I'm surrounded by people that didn't have my best interest at heart. So of course, what kind of cards am I pulling from the tarot deck that I just bought? The Seven of Swords, the Ten of Swords, Death, the Devil. So these freaked me out. I still remember how that felt. How there was no internet to go on and to watch people talk about the cards and making them more approachable. These things were freaking creepy. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with this conversation. So what else? So these are the decks that I use to read for other people, and because they speak the language of the spirits. They speak the language of my spirits that assist me with these readings. Okay. And I know I don't want my videos to encourage people to go out and buy stuff that they don't need or can't afford or whatever. But if you're already in the market looking for a tarot deck, and I recommend this one because this one surprised me. It's based on novels. And I didn't even finish the first novel. I don't know, maybe I wasn't in a headspace. It was taking too long to get to the point for me. And it could just be that that's my headspace. It wasn't a reflection on the author, right? That's just where I am. So I'm probably going to have to go back and read it. But you don't even need to read the novels. These images, if you practice, if you're a true magical practitioner, folk magic, these will speak to you. These will speak to you. So, yeah, okay. So what else did I want to share? I wanted to share a new deck I received. I'm not gonna do. I think I started doing flip through videos, but I'm not gonna do a flip through for this one. One is because. So I just got this. I got it on a Facebook trading page. Someone had it up for sale, and they had it up for sale because it was it had manufacturing defects. It's the Byzantine Tarot. And I was surprised to learn that this one, it's not even that old. It's like not even, 5 years old or something like that, that it's out of print. So I went and I looked it up before I started recording my video, not to be uninformed. And it turns out it's being re-released in the fall. This is by John Matthews and Cilla Conway. So John Matthews, I guess, wrote the book. Cilla Conway did the art. And the person who was selling it for a really reasonable price because they couldn't be bothered to fix the cosmetic issues. And the cosmetic issues were seriously, the corners were really badly cut. The corners were so bad they were really chewed up. So what I did, these are the backs. What I did, and I've always been drawn to Byzantine art. So for me, this was like bonus. And so when I was the person showed like really excellent pictures. I saw that the corners were all like mangled, badly mangled, people. Oh my God. And honestly, like if you look at it, look at these cards. Like they're really off center. Really terrible. But I love Byzantine art or Byzantine styled art. So I was like happy to pay for this deck. So I received it. It was yesterday or last night. It was in the mailbox. My husband went and picked up the mail. I only opened it this morning. I already recut. I repunched all the corners, re-rounded all the corners. And in order to correct the poorly rounded corners, I used the large side, the large corner rounder setting. So already it's an improvement. And I've already started the first part of the edging that I'm doing to match that gold color on the back of the cards. So I started doing that, and then I probably am going to add some of this reddish brown on the edges. I haven't decided yet, but I've already started doing the giving it its makeover. So this is my most recent deck, the Byzantine Tarot. Now I went on Amazon and I learned that the Byzantine Tarot is being reprinted in October. So not only was I surprised that this was already out of print from 2015, but that it's being reprinted in October by Red Feather, which is, Red Feather is part of Schiffer. So it's probably going to be pretty sexy. It's probably going to have, like, you know, the Schiffer cardstock and the gold gilding. But I'm pretty happy I got this one, and I'm going to keep this one. Okay, there was one last thing I wanted to talk about. Ah, yes. No, I'll make a different video for the decks that I'm going to be working with in July. I'll do that another, yeah, that's going to be another video. I'm just going to stop here. Again, this is just one of those videos where, I'm sorry, it's all over the place. I wanted to share the decks that I use, the decks I primarily use to read for the public. And how it's because it's the, you know, the imagery is the language that my spirits speak to me when they assist me with these readings. And then, oh my god, look at this stack of cards. Isn't that cool? And then I guess that's it for now. Alright. I'm going to let you go. And maybe there'll be another video today. I'm not sure. I think I'll record the video today while I'm off to share with you the decks I'll be working with in July. So yeah, that's what I'll do. All right then. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do you read for other people, and what are the decks you use to read for the public, and why? Is it like what I described, where is it a comfort level? Because certainly this, like, you know, Rider Waite for me is a comfort level because I've been reading these for like since 1985. Just share, you know, please feel welcome to share down below. You know, if you read for the public, what's your favorite deck or decks that you use to read for the public? Thanks again for tuning in. Finally, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day.